Now, Joey, NATO has released new guidelines saying we need to use gender inclusive language. So, for example, using the term airman is apparently offensive and should be replaced with Air Force personnel. Using chair should be used in, or chairperson. Political leader should be used instead of statesman. For NATO to be releasing this now, I mean, how is that the priority of NATO?
I mean, it's amazing. You have the war in Ukraine raging. You have the entire world having tons of issues right now as far as military stuff goes. But we're going to worry about pronouns once again. It's so out of touch. I thought we were past that. I thought we had sort of moved on from the era of woke. But NATO, I guess, is stuck in the past, as they usually are. And we're going to now worry about what we call things. They need to be focused on defense. That's the entire point of NATO. And if they want to continue on, it's literally to defend Western countries, correct? That's the stated mission. What do pronouns have to do with fighting wars and defending against certain threats from the world? It makes no sense. And this is why nobody takes any of this seriously. This is why they are not taken seriously.
100%. And someone else who's put woke ahead of actually doing a good job is Gavin Newsom. We saw how disastrously LA handled the fires. Well, now he's signed a new law banning ICE from wearing masks. Now, I find this particularly ironic because a lot of the protesters you'll see are wearing COVID masks or keffiyehs. They're covering their face. Meanwhile, ICE agents have experienced a 1,000% increase in assaults towards them. What is Gavin doing here? What is the goal of this law?
So the goal of this law is that Gavin Newsom wants to become president of the United States in 2028, and he needs something to run on. The liberals will eat this up. They'll say how wonderful it is. The part that they don't realize, it's literally not an enforceable position. The federal government is in charge of ICE. They supersede any state law that Gavin Newsom can put into place. He has no right to tell them what they can or cannot wear. So basically, anybody who knows anything about the way the system in the United States works would know this is a complete fraud of a bill. It's unenforceable. He literally is doing it for PR. And honestly, that's most of Gavin Newsom's career. He acts like he cannot do anything that would actually help his people until it's time suddenly for a PR stunt or a new podcast. The man is pathetic, and it's all just to run for president in 2028.
And it makes no sense because the ICE agents are there enforcing the law. It's the protesters that are assaulting them, that are doxing them, which here in Australia is a crime to actually dox someone, put their personal details out. Yet it's the ICE agents that are being told they can't wear masks to protect their identity. It really doesn't make sense. But speaking of people who want to run for president, Joey, Kamala Harris, her new book is being teased. I feel like this is the longest tease of a new book ever because we've been getting leaks in drips and drabs, probably because she has to pull out all the stops to try and get anyone to buy the thing. But basically, she is now blaming everyone except herself for the catastrophic loss. How much responsibility does she bear for the Democrats' loss at the election?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. She bears a lot of responsibility, but at the end of the day, the Democrat brand is so destroyed in the United States. They spent the past 4 years absolutely devastating the economy, pushing nothing but pronouns and wokeness and transgenderism and all kinds of things that simply appeal to about 0.5% of the population and expecting everyone to go along with it. So, in my opinion, Joe Biden would have lost just as well as Kamala. Kamala, however, was a uniquely horrendous candidate. She could not speak. She had no principles whatsoever. She really shouldn't have even been VP. Joe Biden literally said, I'm going to pick a black woman for vice president. And there were only a handful he really could pick from at that point. So she became the nominee for vice president. And then simply because he was too demented to run, they said, yeah, okay, fine, Kamala gets it. Obviously, as soon as she got that spot, everyone knew she would lose. That's why this book is being so delayed. If you notice, all they're doing is talking about how many different excerpts are coming. It's going to sell about 10 copies, I would assume. I mean, the rest will be bought by somebody because, you know, they do a lot of money laundering through book deals in reality. It's some organization will buy a bunch of books and suddenly it'll be a bestseller. Nobody cares what Kamala has to say. If they cared, she would have won the election.
Very true. And another great example of why DEI does not work. Joey, thanks so
Yeah.
much for joining us.